Why are so many brilliant people broke, unhappy, and unfulfilled? It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of big ideas. It's because their greatest asset, their own mind, has become their worst enemy. If you've ever felt like you were meant for more but keep getting in your own way, the story is going to change everything for you. You know that feeling, right? You have the talent. You have these incredible ideas. You feel it in your bones. You could be a millionaire, an artist, a genius. But when you look back at the day, the week, the year, you have absolutely nothing to show for it. That was Maya. Honestly, she was brilliant. She had dreams that were bigger than the sky. She wanted to build businesses. She wanted to create breathtaking art. She wanted to learn languages. She wanted to absorb everything the world had to offer. But she had one huge, crippling problem. Her mind was a complete mess. It was a constant battle she was losing. She'd sit down to paint, full of inspiration, and then 5 minutes later, her hand would twitch, and she'd be scrolling through her phone. She'd start mapping out a revolutionary business plan, and then somehow, 3 hours would vanish as she binge-watched an entire season of a show she didn't even like. Every single passion she had, every spark of genius, died half-finished, buried under a massive mountain of distraction. She lived in a graveyard of her own potential. Her grandmother watched this happen for years. She saw the light in Maya's eyes dim a little more each time another project was abandoned. Finally, one afternoon, she sat Maya down, looked at her with a mix of love and deep concern, and dropped a truth bomb that hit her like a lightning strike. She said, "Child, you think your mind is your servant, but it's not. It's your master, and right now, it is a cruel tyrant, dragging you through every random impulse and craving you have. Until you find the courage to overthrow that tyrant and take your rightful place on the throne, you will never, ever be the ruler of your own life." Maya just kind of laughed it off, a little too quickly. She said, "Oh, Grandma, I'm just creative. My mind works differently. It's a beautiful chaos." But deep down, those words stung. They echoed in the quiet moments because she knew, with a certainty that made her stomach clench, that it was true. She wasn't free. She was a puppet, and her own unfocused mind was pulling the strings. But here is where everything changed. This is the turning point. Through a friend, Maya meets this incredible man, Sensei Amar. He had a quiet reputation for taking scattered, unfocused kids and transforming them into focused, powerful leaders. Desperate, Maya went to see him. She poured her heart out, explaining the endless cycle of starting and stopping, the frustration, the feeling of being trapped inside her own head. She couldn't focus, she told him. She expected a long, complicated lecture, maybe a set of boring rules. Instead, Sensei Amar simply listened. When she was done, he stood up, and without saying a word, he handed her a simple wooden bowl, filled right to the very brim with water. The surface was perfectly still, like a mirror. He said, "Walk around the courtyard. Do not spill a single drop." Maya looked at the bowl, then at him. She was thinking, "Hey, this is it? This is the big secret? Easy enough. Wrong. So wrong." As she took her first careful step, a dog in the distance barked sharply. Splash! A tiny bit of water sloshed over the side. She refocused. A group of kids were playing loudly just beyond the wall, their laughter echoing. Splash! Her phone buzzed in her pocket with a notification. Splash! A friend who was also at the dojo called her name. She instinctively turned her head. Splash! A huge gush of water went onto the stone path. By the time she completed the short loop and got back to the master, the bowl was barely half full. She felt defeated and a little foolish. He looked at the bowl, then at her, his eyes calm and knowing. He asked, "What happened?" Maya's shoulders slumped. She admitted it, the words feeling heavy. "I got distracted." Amar looked her dead in the eye, and his voice was firm but not unkind. "Exactly. That bowl, that's your dream. That's your business, your art, your future. The water is your energy, your time, and your focus. It's the most precious resource you have. The world is always going to bark. Your phone is always going to buzz. People are always going to call your name. If you do not command your mind to ignore the noise and protect what's in the bowl, You will always arrive at your destination empty-handed. He leaned in just a little closer, and his next words were the ones that finally broke through all her defenses. He said, "Discipline isn't about trapping yourself in a cage. Discipline is the only thing that sets you free. It frees you from being a slave to every random thought, every notification, every fleeting impulse that pops into your head." For the very first time, it clicked. It wasn't about being less creative. It was about protecting her creativity from the chaos. The next morning, Maya started her quiet revolution. She didn't try to change her entire life overnight. That was the old Maya's mistake. She started small, with one single non-negotiable rule. She woke up at the same time every day. No excuses. Then, she added another small change. She turned her phone to grayscale, draining the addictive color from the apps. She practiced just 10 minutes of focused breathing each morning, learning to watch her thoughts come and go without chasing them. I'm not gonna lie to you, that first week was miserable. It was absolute torture. Her brain was screaming for stimulation. It begged and pleaded for that quick dopamine hit from a social media scroll or a funny video. But she held firm. She remembered the water bowl. By week 3, something profound shifted. The constant mental chatter started to quiet down. Work that used to take her hours of painful, distracted effort was now getting done in minutes of pure, uninterrupted flow. Her art got sharper, more intentional. Her business ideas got clearer, more strategic. She stopped feeling like a scattered mess and started feeling powerful. She was taking the throne back. Fast forward 6 months. A huge national innovation competition comes up. We're talking high pressure, big stakes. A room full of the brightest young minds in the country. The final challenge was intense. You had to design a viable solution to a complex, real-world problem, right there on the spot, and present it to a panel of ruthless judges. Maya entered. On the day of the finals, the atmosphere was pure chaos. You could feel the anxiety in the air. People were panicking. Competitors were pacing, fidgeting, freezing up. On stage, they stumbled over their words, forgetting their key points as the judges grilled them with tough questions. Their bowls were spilling everywhere. But Maya, she was calm. She was an island of focus in a sea of panic. When a judge fired a question at her, she focused only on that question. One breath at a time. One answer at a time. Just like carrying the water bowl, her mind didn't race ahead to what they might ask next. It stayed right there, present, sharp as a blade. When the results finally came in, after what felt like an eternity, Maya was the last one standing. She had won, and standing in the back of the auditorium, almost hidden in the shadows, was Sensei Amar. He wasn't cheering, he was just smiling. Maya proved something that day that we all need to understand. A disciplined mind beats raw talent. It beats luck. And it beats scattered genius every single time. From that day on, she wasn't known as the brilliant but scattered girl anymore. She was the woman who mastered herself first, so she could then go on to master everything else. Look, if you felt that story in your gut, if you recognized a part of yourself in Maya's struggle, then don't just scroll away and let the feeling fade. Hit that like button if you are ready to actually take control and stop spilling your own water. Share this with a friend who you know is fighting the same battle against distraction. And subscribe, because we are building a crew of people who refuse to be prisoners of their own minds any longer. Your life doesn't magically change tomorrow or next week. It changes in the second you make a decision and declare, "I am done being distracted." Discipline your mind. Master your life. Start now.